What's up, everybody? So I've excuse me. There's been a lot of stuff going on here lately. I don't even really know where to start. Oh man! And as you can tell, this is gonna this is gonna be one of my rambling videos. So if this isn't your shtick, then I don't blame you. I know that a lot of people they don't really dig this kind of thing. And by the way, let me fix my camera here. See if I can move it around a little bit. I know that these rambling videos that I sometimes make aren't everyone's shtick. I get it. I don't fault you for it if you don't want to sit here and listen to me bitch and complain about stuff. Oh man. But there's just been a lot of stuff going on here lately, and I thought I'd talk about a little bit about it. So to start with, I've been going through a little bit of a situation right now with my computer. There's been this, I don't really know if I've solved it or not. I think I have. I was going through a situation there for a while where my USB, like, when you disconnect a USB thing, that little noise comes up, and it would sometimes sporadically happen, and I don't know what the frig was going on, and it made me wonder if like somebody was like, hacking into my shit and doing whatever, So I started trying to diagnose what was going on. I mean, I'm a programmer analyst by career path, so I know how to do some shit, man, and I'm not an idiot whenever it comes to stuff with my computer. And I started digging into things. I started looking at my USB devices and so on and so forth, using different kinds of programs and stuff, and I couldn't really figure out exactly what was going on. And one thing led to another, and I literally decided to ping Chat GPT about some of the stuff because I thought to myself, well, it's AI. Why not take advantage of it? And I worked with GPT for a while, trying to go down different paths, trying to figure things out. One thing led to another, and I wound up eventually reaching into the device manager to see what was going on, because I noticed at one point, see, the thing that would come up would indicate that there was a USB device that was unrecognized, whatever the fuck that means. And so I decided to go into excuse me, my device manager, thinking, well, okay, if there's an actual hardware issue, surely to God there will be something in there. Because usually from a lot of the stuff that you read online about this stupid type of shit, man, it's like sometimes reading it's like when you look up something about your health. It's like the most worst case scenario. If you have some sort of thing that's developing on your body or some shit, boom, instant cancer. So with this, I'm sitting there looking at all of these things on my Google results, trying to parse through all of this stuff in an effort to not panic, and like basically just try to find some sort of thing that makes some level of sense, okay? I don't really know exactly where the penny dropped, but I wound up having a moment where I wound up using this program called USB DView. That's USB DView. I don't know why they named it that, but it's actually a pretty damn handy little program, because it tells you, it has ways to basically set up a log file when a USB device disconnects, okay? So if you're sitting there doing, just your normal thing, and you've got that USB DView program running in the background, and you've got it configured to keep a log file of the things that disconnect, you can just kind of let it sit back there in the background and do your thing. And whenever you hear that fucking USB disconnection sound, it'll log everything to the file that you've designated to set everything up with. And let me know in the comments if you're interested in knowing more about this, because I'll be more than happy to hook you up with the script. It's basically like a bat file script, you know, for any of you guys that are kind of old school. There's bat files, you know, with the Windows traditional type of OS level scripting shit, and you can basically tie it into USB D view to log to a specific, you know, disconnection file. Anyway, I set everything up to kind of do that stuff, and it wasn't really that kind of led to the penny drop moment. It was actually just me looking at the entries on USB D view, because the program that runs in the background, more or less, it kind of lists the USB devices that you have on your system, and you can kind of get all sorts of different kinds of details about your USB devices that sometimes are a little more difficult to kind of suss out in your device manager. So anyway, long story short, I think I figured it out. And again, this was in tandem with working with ChatGPT to try to assess certain kinds of aspects about my workstation. To make a long story short, I have this thing, which I think it should be... Okay, so I have a webcam, and I also have an actual dedicated, like, YouTube grade type of self-production microphone, okay? It's the kind of thing that you see a lot of the professional YouTubers use. And I really feel like an ass, man, because I didn't realize that my webcam up to this point had been the microphone, because my webcam... I really feel stupid making this video, man, but it's important. I've got an Anker Power Comp C200 webcam, okay? And for whatever it's worth, I really like the webcam, man, because I think for the most part it has pretty damn good quality for some, you know, some rando YouTuber type person. Because I saw somebody else that I follow on YouTube who has one of those cameras, and at least for me, I mean, it came across really well. I really like the quality, and that person told me what the camera make and model was, and I decided to go ahead and get one. What I didn't realize at the time, though, is that it has some sort of embedded microphone. It has an embedded microphone, and to make a long story short, the embedded webcam microphone was creating some sort of OS level, driver level type of, like, conflict with my what's the thing called? I don't know. It's let me see here if I can see it on my thing. Well, I can't see it on my USB D view. I would have to look it up. It's like a Moano, I think, microphone. Okay, Moano microphone. Okay, so the Moano microphone. Don't ask me what the model number is. If you want to know what that information is, let me know in the comments. But I have a Moano microphone. It's supposed to be pretty damn good for the most part for your, you know, like the general DIYer YouTube guy like me. Moano microphone, Power Comp C200 webcam, okay? And the webcam has its own embedded microphone. So what I had to do was I had to basically, first of all, I had to delete these things called fucking ghost device entries in my USB device manager stuff. Okay, so if you go into your device manager, you can tick this thing off that allows you to see ghost entries. Or let me bring it up here, because I want to make sure I tell you guys this specifically so that you know what to look for if you guys ever run into this. Okay, so if you go into device manager in Windows, and we've all seen this for the most part. I'm assuming most of my viewers have seen this at least once. In Windows, you have this thing called Computer Management, and it basically allows you to access things like Event Viewer, which contains all of your system logs, and then you've got this thing called Device Manager, which shows you a readout of the majority of your, like, devices and shit on your computer. In that Device Manager screen, If you go up to view and you click on show hidden devices, and then you expand your universal serial bus controllers, if you have any ghost entries, it'll be in there as basically grayed out line items. I fucking hate this shit, man. Stuff is just getting too goddamn complex. But anyway, if you go into the universal serial bus controller shit and you see some grayed out shit, according to ChatGPT, it's a good, I guess, maintenance routine to delete those things. I don't know why. I guess it, from what little I remember from the exchange that I had with ChatGPT, it has something to do with how I guess that represents or symbolizes some sort of cached driver settings. And if those things are cached, sometimes they can cause problems with your actual devices that are enabled. Okay, like the ones that you're actually using. Anyway, my workstation, it basically has two USB ports that I connected my Moano microphone to, as well as my Anchor PowerConf webcam to. They shared the same hub, okay? And I guess because each had their own audio settings because of the microphones, they were kind of fighting over some sort of OS level entry that allowed them to have, I don't know, like settings at the Universal Serial Bus Controller's device stuff. And the only way I wound up sussing some of this out was because of that USB D-View thing, because one of the things that was always showing up as like a ghost entry in the device, in the Universal Serial Bus Controller's device management stuff, was something that showed up as like this composite USB device, and the error message that would come up whenever that disconnection noise would come up was something about how there was a USB device that was unrecognized. Okay, it was just really vague. You couldn't make heads or tails out of it. You had no idea what was going on, but of course, because of how shitty the error handling is in Windows, I guess, it always left you to suspect the absolute worst, which would be something related to the motherboard. And if your motherboard goes, then obviously you're panicking and stuff. Well, it turns out that if your motherboard's actually getting ready to die, you're seeing blue screens of death, random freezes, all of your USB devices stop working. You know, your shit just freezes all across the board. You don't know exactly what's going on. It's just fucking pandemonium, you know? So thankfully that shit hasn't been happening with me. But this random sporadic USB disconnection was, and to make a super long story short, through using the USB D-View application, which is one of those random kind of third-party things that you used to download every once in a while back in the 2000s, you know, I was able to kind of trace back that ghost thing that was back there in the device settings or device management. I found this serial number from USB D-View that traced it back to that Moano microphone that I've got. It was one of the ones that was grayed out, and it contained the same. Let me make sure I tell you correctly here, because I want to try to help you guys with this. Okay, so when you open up one of the generic USB hub properties, which is basically one of the many line items that some of you guys probably have in the Universal Serial Bus Controller section, there's an entry in the General tab that indicates the location. Now, I'm assuming there's a lot of entries out there that can be different, but for the most part, the grayed item that kept coming up as being unrecognizable, it had a location entry of port underscore and then some weird number and then dot hub underscore and then another weird random number. but the one that was always showing up as unrecognizable always had the same location value. It was always like port, underscore pound sign, and then 0001 dot hub underscore pound sign 0001 or some shit. It was always the same like identifier though, okay? And over in USB-D view, when you would click on the same ghosted fucking thing, it would give you the same like location thing. But what the penny drop moment was when I saw that this thing over in USB-D view had a serial number. And so I went to Google, I typed up something like USB and then serial number and then the actual serial number itself. And what showed up was this Moano fucking microphone. And it was at that moment that I decided to go into control panel and then the recorder or sound recording device stuff, and I saw how only my my PowerConf my Anchor PowerConf, what is it, C200 webcam, only that thing was working for the sound recording settings. I didn't have it. There's like a drop down thing where you can kind of click on and you can designate what thing you want to use as your microphone, and only the PowerConf showed up, not the Moano, professional fucking grade YouTube DIYer type of microphone thing that I thought I was using since day one of buying it. So anyway, long story short, I realized from that moment what was going on, and both the microphone and the webcam were fighting over, I guess, the same hub location shit at the, really ground level of computer management, device manager entries. Long story short, I deleted the ghost entries. And by the way, for whatever it's worth, ChatGPT says that if you see ghost entries in your universal serial bus controllers, to go ahead and delete those. I guess it's like a standard operation for maintenance of Windows that a lot of people don't do. And the reason that's important is because a lot of those ghost entries can cache certain kinds of settings that can conflict with other like live devices that you have with your workstation. But anyway, I deleted a lot of that shit. And then in the control panel slash recording stuff, you'll see it there. It's like in the settings or something of your sound stuff. I disabled the PowerConf webcam's microphone, and then I was able to designate the Moano microphone in the drop down that you use to designate which thing you want to use. And since that point on, at least knock on wood, I haven't heard any USB disconnections. But for the next couple days, I'm going to leave that USB D-View app running in the background so that it can kind of log when something disconnects, because if it happens, then I'll have some sort of entry. But I think for the most part, it's taken care of. And the reason it drove me nuts is because I had it in my mind that there was something really bad going on with my workstation, because I've got like a fucking $6,000-$7,000 workstation, man. And if there's something going on with the motherboard, that's like panic level grade type of worry for me, And I mean, I can take care of it if something happens, but the point is I don't want to have to take care of it, I don't want to have to worry anymore about stuff. I worry enough as is about stuff in my life, so. But anyway, I think I've got that for the most part taken care of. All of the evidence makes it sound as if everything's good, and I haven't heard any disconnection shit or anything like that here since I made these changes. So, I'm kind of waiting and observing and seeing what happens. So anyway, there's that. That's been going on. Past couple days up here in Indiana, basically Terre Haute, we've been having some shitty weather. The first couple days, and by first couple days, I mean, what is it today, man? Today's Monday, the 16th of March. And I think the bad weather basically began yesterday. Because yesterday we wound up with, there's a little bit of like a cold front that's moving across the Midwest right now. It just got done passing through Indiana last night. And what it brought with it is like temperatures that are now down to like fucking 25, 30 degrees. So it's now in March and we're feeling again like we're back in January. So it's like, oh my God, man. That's Indiana for you, man. That's the way it works. Sometimes we have crazy weather like that. It's just happens. So, but that happened. Saturday night, I wound up. This is gonna make me sound like I'm an alcoholic or something, and I swear to God I'm not, man. Or else I don't think I am. But I always wanted to try Cosmo, or Cosmo drinks. I don't know anything about that shit, but I bought a bottle of it from my local big box store. And Saturday night I drank like maybe, I don't know, man, maybe a quarter to somewhere between a quarter and a half a bottle of it. And it's not a big bottle or anything. It was like only maybe about I don't know, man, maybe about this big, somewhere around there. And it's like maybe that wide. So, you do the math there. I don't know what that would be, but according to the bottle, it was about 20% ABV. And I drank about maybe, like I said, a quarter to a half of it. And my God, it laid me out. And I wound up puking. And I did not mean to do that. I hate being drunk. I've been drunk a couple times. I don't like it. It's not what they make it out to be in the movies. It sucks. And but I got past it, at like 4 a.m. And that Sunday morning, man, I was just completely dead. I remember when I woke up at 4 a.m., man, it was like an excruciating headache, and I couldn't sleep because of how bad it was. And I got up and I tried to crash on the couch with like TV working in the background, and I had like this cold pack against my head, and I was just kind of sitting there because the thing that I had on my television was Dual Survival. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with that show, but I've got some DVDs of it, and I was just kind of listening to Cody London do his thing, and I don't know, man. One thing led to another, and I decided to go into the kitchen for something. And man, that was when it hit me. There was something in my stomach that just came up, and at that point, man, I was laid out by the toilet, and I just could not stop puking for about 5 to 10 minutes. It sucked, and I'm almost inclined to think that it wasn't really even the alcohol. I think it might have been something that I cooked, because that night I cooked some things on the grill. I cooked some chicken and other things, and I didn't eat it all. I cooked a lot of it because I thought to myself, well, I'll save this for the next day, for dinner the next day or something like that. So I sometimes do that. But the stuff that I ate that night was the majority of the chicken, because I grilled some chicken thighs, and I love making chicken thighs on the grill with garlic salt and olive oil because of that wonderful crispy skin and stuff. It just tastes so good. But anyway, I ate that stuff, and I kind of wonder if there might have been something bad in that, because like I said, man, I've been drunk before. It's nothing new. I don't make a habit of it by any means, because I hate being drunk. It's not what they make it sound or make it depicted as in the movies. It sucks. Or at least it does for me. I've only been drunk, I think, about maybe 3 times in my life. And here I am. I'm 42 years old, man, and every single time I've been drunk, it sucked. It was horrible. But this last time was the only time that I puked, assuming that it had something to do with being drunk. And that was an accident. I did not want to get drunk. I thought to myself, well, okay, I got this thing of Cosmo, and I've drank things that were pretty strong before, and I got to be honest with you, man. That Cosmo stuff was nothing compared to some of the DIY honey mead that I've fermented before. Because I have some shit right now in my refrigerator. It's some raspberry honey mead. I don't know what the ABV is of it, but there was one time when I drank an entire bottle of that shit, and it laid me out. And I will never ever do that crap again. I can drink a little teeny tiny like champagne or champagne glass worth of that stuff, and I can feel instantly on the verge of being drunk. And I try to avoid that at all costs, because I don't like being that type of person. My mother was an alcoholic, so I've learned through seeing what that kind of crap does to understand why it's so important to avoid that type of crap, and I want nothing to do with it. But I do drink every once in a while just to kind of take some edge off, to kind of relax, and especially if I've had a good day, I might uh, drink a little bit to just kind of enjoy it, you know. Because alcohol, one good thing about alcohol is that it does kind of loosen you up. But a lot of the bad stuff that they don't tell you about sometimes with alcohol is that the next day it kind of makes you feel a little more anxious, and it does contribute to weight gain, which is another thing that I don't think they emphasize enough with alcohol. So you do have to keep it in moderation, and you just got to use common sense with it, man. You don't have to be stupid about it. And obviously, it goes without saying that, you know, if you're one of those kinds of people that's drinking to escape life, then stop drinking, go get help, all that kind of stuff. You know the song. But with my situation though, I think that's gonna be the last time I ever fucking drink Cosmo, man. Whatever that shit was, man, it kicked my ass. But again, it wasn't as bad as some of my DIY honey mead. I've got some raspberry honey mead right now in the fridge, and it's just, it's like rocket fuel, man. So anyway, that was my Saturday morning, or should I say Sunday morning. And of course, I spent Sunday morning just kind of relaxing, you know, trying to rebound, rehydrate, get over this crap. And like I said, man, they being drunk isn't fun. It's nothing to be bragging about. That shit sucks, man. It's not cool. And again, that stuff that I did that Saturday night, that was an accident. I didn't expect the Cosmo stuff to really hit me as hard as it did, but I guess it did. Besides that, though, is there anything else really to talk about? I'm gonna make another episode of RimWorld here before too long, because here before too long, if any of you guys have been following those videos, I've finished the south wing of those growing basins, and at some point I'm gonna start summoning some more of those bad guy mechanoids so that I can start getting some more parts for more of those atomizer things. I was even thinking about maybe making an episode of that tonight. I don't know if I'm going to though, because it's beginning to get a little late. It's about 9 o'clock where I am right now, but I'll eventually do it at some point. Is there anything else though to talk about? I don't know, man. For the most part, life's just kind of moving right along. It's not really, I guess, a whole lot to bring up, I guess. I mean, we all know what's going on out there in the world with the stuff with Iran and, you know, all that crap. But I do think that it's not, I don't think I don't know, is there something to be said about that? I mean, my God, there's all sorts of stuff that I guess can be said about it, but is it anything that's really worth hearing? I'm not really for what we're doing over there, because in one sense, I feel like, you know, us being over in Iran and doing what we're doing right now, you'll get no arguments from me about the suspicion concerning whether or not Iran was footing the bill of various terrorist initiatives, because I do think that there was a lot of that going on. I know that I remember back during 9/11, there was a bunch of shit going on where a lot of people thought that Iran was basically trying to pay for the expenses of a lot of the terrorists that were involved back then. But there was also a lot of stuff going around back then about how Saudi Arabia was involved in that too. I mean, it's just getting to a point where you don't know what to believe anymore with anything. And it's really frustrating because, man, all you want to do is just come home, not worry about stuff. You want to come home to like a sanctuary and not have to worry about things like a goddamn computer's USB random disconnects, let alone stuff that's going on over there in Iran. You know, it's like you just want to be left alone. Uh, but I guess I don't know, man. Compared to a lot of people out there in the world, I guess my life right now is going okay. So I can't complain about anything really. The car's working, the truck's working. I had a little bit of a scare with the car about a week ago where I thought I might have, excuse me, I thought I might have seen some oil uh, coming down from the car, but I think it actually turned out to be old tire shine from the last car wash that I had. And as far as the truck's concerned, man, I mean, I can't complain at all about the truck. I mean, I've got some rust stuff that I need to kind of take care of, and I'm thinking I'm gonna wind up taking care of that sometime in the spring or summer because I've got some rocker panels and cab corners that are beginning to show some rust, especially on the driver's side. Actually, mostly on the driver's side. And then at some point in the far future, I'm gonna wind up having to take care of some wheel well areas that are beginning to kind of bubble, which I fucking hate, man. I'm almost even tempted to try to take care of that part on my own because I have some welders and I could probably do it on my own if I was really completely committed to doing it on my own. But I'd feel better, having somebody that's professional do it because they have the painting supplies and things like that to handle that kind of thing. Excuse me. But yeah. Anyway. Just thought I'd ramble a little bit about stuff. I guess there's not really much more to say right now about stuff. Like I said, everything's going okay on my end. But again, here before too long, I'm gonna wind up making another RimWorld video. And Madison, any of you guys Taylor Sheridan fans? Because the Madison now is beginning to stream. I've seen the first 3 episodes so far, and for the most part, it's pretty good. I think they're trying to find their stride. It's usually the case with most of these kinds of new shows. It takes a few episodes before they begin to kind of understand what kind of direction they need to take with it. I won't spoil anything, but if you have a chance to watch that show, it's actually pretty damn good. Or at least I shouldn't say that's really damn good or anything because right now it's just kind of okay, but I see potential in it. I think it's going somewhere. I think it's heading in a good direction. And one thing I'm really interested in is whether or not Michelle Pfeiffer or anybody else's character in the show is going to wind up somehow realizing that they're relatives to the Stratford wife that left the ranch to head back to New York or wherever it was, the East Coast, in 1923. Because I guarantee you that at some point, or at least I'm kind of suspecting that something's going to be revealed at some point in the Madison where they're gonna like expose something about one of the main female characters, which would be Michelle Pfeiffer's character. I kind of wonder if something in that is going to be discovered where she's going to realize that she's a relationship to or a descendant to one of the characters in 1923. So we'll have to see about that. Part of me is kind of hoping it happens because I think that'd be just kind of cool, Anyway, that's where I'm going to end this video. It's been a wild week, man. I don't really know what else to say, but I hope you guys are doing okay. And again, expect that RimWorld video here for too long. I'm gonna have something going up at some point. So I hope you guys are okay. Stay warm or stay cool wherever you are in the world, and stay safe. Most importantly. So until next time, I'll see you guys later.